What's up, everybody? Once again, it is I, James, coming to you from the Nerdy Mewzings Podcast studio. I am excited to be joined today by the creator of Savage Pulp, Mr. Jorge Zevallos. How you doing today, sir?
Very good. Very good. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, man. Yeah, I was excited when you reached out to me and I got to check out some of your work. Very unique art style.
hmm
What are some of the influences that people come to you and say that they pick up in there? So you mentioned a little bit. You're saying like sometimes they see some things that you're not necessarily seeing yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird it ranges, but I mean, for me, like specifically Savage Pulp was for some reason I wanted to mix which I don't know if it was successful or not, but I wanted to mix my sort of love for that specific book was like action films like kind of like Die Hard, a
Yeah.
police story, or this kind of like fast paced, thing with a sort of like heavy metal European kind of like I wouldn't say Mobius, but a little bit of that kind of heavy metal European vibe in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
With some like touches of like EC comics, you know. Um
I picked up on a lot of that, and a lot of it had to do with the way it was colored as well.
yeah.
I like the uniqueness of the way it was colored. Did you color it yourself?
Well, with that book, I actually looked for a while for somebody to color that book. I think his name was Jason Smith. And I had to look for someone because, I wrote the book, I drew it, I inked it, probably like 95 or 96% brush. So it was more of like trying to see if I can do something out of my comfort zone. So I just wanted to make the book difficult for purposefully, which is, now it's kind of silly, but at the time I was like, I just wanted to, quote unquote, test my metal
Right.
and do something that was not easy. So it was like I wanted even the buildings, like straight edges, everything is in brush, right? I use a ruler, like old school, with
Yeah.
a brush and straight lines. And now looking back, the lines are so straight, it's like, why even use a brush? I
Right.
mean, there's no point. But that's what I wanted to do. I just really wanted to use it as an excuse to get really good at using the brush. But yeah, I found Jason Smith and I just told them, add some color, but a lot of modern coloring is a little for me too much Photoshop, too much for
Yeah.
me. And with a book like that, with a lot of this like brush strokes and rendering, is like, what, just kind of glaze over. Don't go too much into it. Just, go easy on it. But yeah.
Yeah, when you mention the modern coloring too, something that irritates me a little bit, and I don't know if it's because they're spread thin or the people they're hiring are inexperienced, but it gets me because I'll see some of the pages colored and it's like the colorist doesn't understand form. So, the artist will be portraying lighting coming from a certain angle, but they'll put the shadow on the other side in the
Another way.
coloring.
Right.
Yeah,
So that bothers you too, then you notice that.
big time.
Yeah. But
I'm
it's
noticing it a lot more and more with modern books. I'm
yeah.
seeing that a lot.
It suffices to say that it's rare, I would say, for me to find a book where the coloring, I think the colors nowadays, they overpower the line work.
Definitely.
Yeah. And so it kind of hurts the book. And, some books, I think it just depends, right? Some books I think you can kind of, use the coloring to really bump it up. But then there's other, styles of art that's like, if you do too much, it's too much, it's
Yeah.
too much of a
Yeah,
mess. Yeah.
it can get really muddy, and
Yeah.
especially with the, looking at your line work on Savage Pulp, like if you had the wrong person coloring that, it could take a lot away from the line work.
Yeah. He'll just go over all the lines. He'll just
Yeah.
color.
Color and they'll just do color holds and
Yeah. And
yeah.
they'll all the black and white just goes away. I mean, I remember, now that you bring it up, is like I remember because I went to SVA in New
Okay.
York, and that's where I met Klaus. Do you know Klaus Janson?
I don't know him personally. I'm a huge fan though, and
Right.
I've had a couple other people on here that know him and
Okay.
everything.
So yeah, he would sometimes he would talk about that in the past. Like we'll talk about like books and how he was showing me like a book that he did, let's say he would draw like a Wolverine or something, or he would ink Wolverine over John Romita Jr.
Right.
And it's like the right colorist he'll know when not to cover because Klaus sometimes will be very very detailed. Like even let's say when he did the Superman,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember when he did the Superman book with John Romita Jr. It's like on that book he used very very fine brush lines, like
Yeah.
small, like almost like hairs, and that was a really delicate work that he did on that Superman. So imagine a colorist comes just goes over the rendering and all
Exactly.
that work you can't even see it.
Yeah, everything out the window at that point.
Yeah,
So I got quite a bit ahead of myself.
yeah,
We jumped into it, but I
yeah.
want to talk a little bit about your beginning. The beginning of your art career and
Mhm.
how you decided to pursue comics specifically. So let's go in the way back machine and
Okay.
talk a little bit about how that all started for you.
Well, you mean like when I sort of just noticed comics art and all that stuff?
Yeah, when did you get inspired to decide that that was the direction you wanted to go in with your art? And did you get into art at a very young age?
I would say probably I remember when I was really young, I would say maybe 8 or 7 or 8 or something like that. I wasn't allowed to have video games.
Okay.
So, but I was allowed to have like books, right? So, I remember back then, it was like comics when I was at that age, it was like what, $1.25,
Yeah.
$1.50 maybe. And so they were cheap. And then Marvel started coming out with the 99-cent comics for a while,
Yep.
which I picked up all the time. And in the beginning, I just liked the colors. I liked the fact that they were cheap. Like the $20, you have like 20 books or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, easy, right? And I like just the colors. Again, this is back in the 90s, I would say. So the colors I think back then were not so powering in the art, and they were a little bit more vibrant with the newsprint stuff. So I looked at that stuff and I just kind of looked at it and I just collected. I didn't even necessarily read them, but I just kind of looked at them because I liked the art and stuff like that. But I would say around at the end of high school, when they were asking me, or my parents, like, oh, you should, what are you going to do? I said, I couldn't think of anything else at the time. So I said, I want to, get into comics, but not knowing how difficult it really was
Right.
in the beginning, because maybe, in the beginning is like, only pinups, only draw like one image.
Yes.
And I have no idea about how you tell a story, right? So it's like, and then you look at some artists and you're thinking, how am I going to get to that level? You know, it's like, it was almost like a concern, like how do you do that? Right. But yeah, I'm very persistent and I would draw and draw. And of course, to make like 1,000 bad drawings, like it's just horrible. Right. I mean, but again, going into SVA, like certain nuggets of wisdom was given to me. So, Klaus, meeting Klaus at SVA, he saw that I was very serious, maybe too serious actually.
Hmm.
To the point where, but he saw like that I had this intensity that I wanted to be good at it. I really wanted to be good at it. And so he kind of showed me like something as simple as which you probably on this podcast, you've heard somebody mention the importance of perspective.
100%.
Right. And he told me the same thing. It's like you live in a three-dimensional world.
Yeah.
You have to learn perspective even on a basic level, because you have to give depth, right,
Hmm.
to the drawing. So
Yeah, and people don't think about it enough in regard to their figure work.
that's everything,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's like you have to at least have a sense of it so that it doesn't look so flat, unless that's what you want to do. But typically, you got to know it, right? So
Yeah.
as you know, but yeah, it's like just doing that. And he used to give us these scripts that we had to do 3 pages penciled every 2 weeks. That's how it was back then. So he'd give us a script, simple script, and then you have to break it down. And he would take all our pages and put it on the wall, and one by one, he would ask, why did you do this? Is there a way that you can strip it down and make it clearer with less panels? Can we, instead of using 6, maybe could you use 4 or even 3? Economy, right? And that's kind of, and I still, by the way, like I still wasn't good at the end of SVA. I had potential, but it wasn't frame time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was a little frustrating, but that was a personal thing. And it was very simple. I made a list of things. Okay, what is the weakest area? That's what we're going to work on. And of course, I don't know if it's for everybody. For me, it was really anatomy, like creating anatomy from your head, for the most part.
Yeah, that can be really difficult. Like seeing the figure in 3 dimensions and being able to translate. Yeah, to be able to represent that on the page is a whole other world for, and we'll have this great idea of a pose or something. And then, and if the structure is wrong, like you can put all the muscles in there and everything else, but it's not going to look right. So there's anatomy. That's such a difficult area. But I think, like what you were saying about the perspective and how the perspective is used to ground things and the understanding of the environment that you're putting the figures in is a big part of grasping that. Like I didn't realize that until way too late.
You think?
It's like, oh yeah, I'm like, okay, so I have to get better at perspective, and oh wow, all of a sudden my figure drawing is getting better.
Right.
It's like I didn't make the connection quick enough.
So when you draw a figure, let's say, how does it like if you could tell me like in the most minimal way, how do you go about that if you want to draw?
Currently, I'm really working on my proportions. So I'll get a rough, almost like a very loose, rough silhouette, just so I'm making sure I'm fitting everything in the proper composition on the page that I want. Right. And then I go in there and I'm trying to lay out at least a basic idea of the perspective, whether that be a very loose grid of the angle I'm doing and, trying to see the figure in the simple forms,
right.
the bigger forms of the body, the barrel of the chest, the hips, and all of this, and making sure that the angles are correct for the perspective I'm seeing the figure from and all of these things. But back in the day, I would just try to jump straight into, putting this idea of the cool thing I have in my mind and jump straight to it being finished without enough of the structure work and the math, right? It's like math.
I did the same thing, but I would say certain images, it's funny how you can see one thing. Like that was like with me, I noticed with art, I can just see with my own eyes an example, like an image or a sketch or a process. I see it one time and it like creates almost like the answer or at least another step into what I can do to improve my art. So when I saw the pages, Klaus had these pages. He was inking Wolverine with John Romita's Wolverine, Mark Miller, like when the Enemy of the State, I think. And he would bring these pages in. He would bring the pencils, and then he would bring the inks. And you would see how John Romita, the scale of how he drew his figures in the 11 by 17 space, the scale, giant figures. And he would even draw perspective. He uses a lot of perspective lines, actually.
Okay.
Like a lot of perspective. And even like in backgrounds, like it almost looks like a grids on the page, for everything. But that's his way.
Kind of like Arthur Adams does. So you see, he does like crazy grids and things on his.
Yeah, but his is a little bit more economical because John just draws enough to see it. He doesn't go. He doesn't really render his stuff.
Yeah.
He just uses the side of the pencil. Here's the shadow. Here's the light because he's very fast. So he just gives you just enough, but Klaus can interpret it, and then he really embellishes, just the simple stuff. But I saw that, and right away it's like, okay, draw bigger, bigger figures, fill the space. But John comes from more of I would say he's the last of the remnants of like Kirby, Buscema, like the old
Yeah,
school Marvel guys. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the OGs.
Yeah.
Like those are my Buscema and Kirby are like way up
Those are,
there on the list for me.
okay. So those are like a big influences for you.
Yeah, yeah. As far as the older stuff, I really love all their stuff. So
Yeah.
that's that's definitely a lot of stuff I look at. And Neil Adams, I really love
Neil.
Neil Adams. Yeah,
Have you ever met Neil?
I did, but I wish I would have interacted with him more
Okay.
because I came across him at several conventions and he's always be there at his table and
Yes.
very, very open and inviting. And I wish I would have, like, I felt like I didn't want to bother him, but I feel
Really?
like he's somebody I could have gone up and he would have just sat there and had a conversation. And in,
So, so
in,
you
in
never,
hindsight,
yeah, you should have went up to like, you never
I
showed
should
him
have.
like your pages and stuff like that.
No, no.
Yeah.
No. I got a little starstruck. I think I got a little starstruck and I was just like almost too afraid to go up and spark up the conversation. But I could see that he was somebody who would have he liked to give back in that way was my impression.
Yeah. I would say I met him about 2 or 3 times, but it's funny because I remember when I was going to conventions, I would talk to other artists, or we were all going to we just graduated SVA or something. And the thing about Neil, at least when I met him, is that Neil is very opinionated. He will tell
Yeah.
you whether he likes something or he doesn't like something, but that is just he's just giving you his take on it, right?
Yep.
And he has a different taste. He likes Norman Rockwell. He likes this kind of like representative art.
Right.
So that's where he comes from. So, but no, I think Neil was just he was just himself. He was just real. Like I never found him to be like rough around the edges. That's what a lot of the other guys were saying. They're like, oh, he's a little bit
Yeah,
rough. I don't think so. No.
yeah, I never got that impression, and I've seen like him interacting with other people over the years and giving back and
Yeah.
teaching, and yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
get that impression of him. I just like you said, like he definitely had his opinions and things,
Right.
and
Right. Right.
wasn't shy about sharing them.
Right. Yeah. Um, I mean, at least like but you did actually. So you never like spoke to him at all.
I think I talked to him a little bit, just like about what he had at his table and everything,
Yes.
all
Okay.
his prints and things like that. But that was one of the first things I thought when I got the news of his passing was
Yeah.
like, man, I had all those opportunities.
Yeah.
I could have talked to him and picked his brain, you know.
I got lucky in that I was able to meet most of the artists that I always wanted to meet. Not all of them. I would say Gene Colan, and I wish it was one time I saw him, and I don't know why I didn't talk to him at the time. And then he passed away, so I could meet Joe Kubert. I wanted to meet Joe
Yeah,
Kubert.
Joe. Yeah, that would have been
Never.
awesome.
I met his son Adam,
Yeah.
but I never met Joe. Yeah. So, or yeah, I just it is what it is.
I just had Emma Kubert on here, so that was really cool talking to her.
Oh yeah, yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's definitely carrying on that legacy, teaching there at the school and all
Yeah.
of that. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's such I made her laugh because I did the comic book royalty thing.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh man," I'm
Yeah.
like, "No, but it's true though. Like
Yeah.
Joe's a legend. Adam and Andy are legends. Like
Yeah.
especially for the stuff in the '90s. Like I remember just drooling over the stuff that Andy and Adam were doing, the Wolverine
The
stuff
Wolverine.
and the
Yeah.
X-Men
The X-Men.
stuff and all. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, I would say for me, if you're talking the biggest influence, it would probably be Joe Kubert. Just especially specifically his tour. His tour.
Yeah.
He did a tour in the '90s for the Epic line of Marvel. They're like magazine size.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Those, I think it was like 4 or 5 issues. Those issues, I remember as a kid, I found them in the back issue bin. And that literally, it changed the course of that's what got me into doing like books like Savage Pulp.
Yeah.
This guy drew, wrote, ink, and colored his own thing. So I was like, wow, And with a guy like Joe, it's like the art looks very much like he's doing it's like a blue collar type of mentality. It's like we have a deadline, we got to work, do a good job, but we have to meet the deadline, do your thing, and then we move on. But his thing was composition,
Oh yeah.
brush stroke. There's a rhythm to it, and it's
The
kind of rough,
rhythm and
but
the economy of line and everything is just like his
yeah,
figure work.
and yeah, the figure work and the way he inks, he's very like, I don't want to say he's not reckless, but he is very confident.
Yeah.
Confident. He just throws the line. Even if it's a blunt line, but he puts it in the right spots, so it works.
Yeah, when I looked at your Savage Pulp stuff, I picked up, to me, the influence I saw was Joe Kubert and Neil Adams. I thought it was kind of like a combo of those two. Specifically in the Neil Adams for me was more in the faces.
Really?
Like how you structure your faces and everything and some of the expressions.
Yeah, I have heard that a lot. I have heard that a lot, which is interesting. Because I never picked up on that. But
yeah,
if you look at the book, this is the funny thing about the psychology of that book. In the beginning, it was all about how much can I impress you? How much can I layer detail and
right.
intricate and all this kind of thing? But then my psychology changes by the end where it's become, okay, minimal with bold composition, more design,
Yeah.
It's not about like, I'm going to render this or that. No, I strip everything down and it becomes more and more minimal towards the latter end of it. So, which maybe that's normal for people at the
It
comic.
sounds like you were definitely in the mode of, like you said, you wanted to push yourself,
Yeah.
with the brushwork and everything else. And it sounds like the deeper you got into the project, you kind of found some other ways to push outside the boundaries, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what it was. Yeah, for sure.
Now, going back to what you said earlier, you were talking about when you got done, with your program, with the schooling and everything, you kind of weren't maybe necessarily happy with where you were at, and you came up with a kind of a list of things you wanted to work on.
Yeah.
How much of your work was like on the job? Like, did you start getting projects after that and start some of your early published work?
I did. There was I remember there was actually somebody who, I forgot what department, but it was somebody who was working at the college and he wanted an artist to do like an idea that he had or something. And that was the first time working with an editor because I noticed, and this is the beginning, it's like, at least with this editor, it's like editors will say, they'll write, he actually made the script as well. He wrote a script.
Yeah.
So he would break a script down, panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, and maybe most scripts are like that. They literally tell you what to draw per panel.
Right.
And I would say to him, I could do it this way. You know what? Scratch that. I wouldn't even follow it because it was the way he thinks more like a writer, not necessarily a visual storyteller.
Yeah.
So he would break it down. Okay, 6 panels on the page. I'll come back with like a panel or a page with like maybe 4 panels or even 3. And then he saw it. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I like that better." It's like, because he can't see it. He doesn't see what I see. It's like, okay. And all the dialogue is there. It's all there. But it was also in the beginning it was hard for me to meet deadlines in the beginning. It was really hard for me. I would spend too much time. I didn't learn how to be fast, too much about the detail and trying to impress. And, I just was slow in the beginning, very slow.
Not to sidetrack you, but what helped you break out of that? Because that's one of my things I have trouble with is I'll just like, I'll go over that figure and find things I need to fix. And like, I don't move on as quickly as I think I probably should.
Okay. So I would say, well, let's put it this way. Because for a while I was working like this and I was slow, but I didn't even like the work. I was, whoever I did the page for, they liked it, but I didn't like it.
Right.
And it was like, to me, listen, if I don't like what I'm doing and I'm taking forever, so there's 2 negatives. I don't like what I'm doing and I'm taking forever to do it. That is not the way to progress and to do art or anything, or even, make a bunch of work or books. You just can't keep that up because and I know a lot of artists like that. They spend a lot of time, and after all these hours, they didn't even like their work. I was the same way.
Yeah.
So I would say you have to, like what I did, tailor your personality to your art. You have to tailor it. So let's say there are some people that actually like to spend 8 to 10 hours or more rendering things, right? Some artists like that. Some artists do. Me personally, I like things to be fast. I like to draw, but I'm not the type to draw like forever. So because I like to be out, I like to, I'm a physical person. I like to
Right.
go to the gym or run or whatever, right? Because that's me. That's what keeps me even, right? My mind and everything's chill, right? So what I did was a couple years back, I was thinking there has to be a better way to go about this. It's like I'm banging my head up against the wall. I'm doing it the wrong way. I'm just taking too long, and I don't like the work.
Yeah.
So I remember looking at specifically animation, because animation, notice their drawings are very simple. We're talking 2D animation, right?
Yes.
Like Disney, specifically the Max Fleischer Superman shorts.
Oh yeah.
And I would see online the drawings that they do, or any other like golden age, like Disney, whatever. And their drawings are so simple. They are so simple, but they're so effective. They draw just enough where you understand what that is. So, and because they have to draw like thousands of these things, right? So I started looking at that. I said, why don't I apply that logic to my drawing? It's like, why spend, use 20 lines when I can use 5 and it still works?
Yeah.
That's when I started to change my thinking. Why don't we strip it down? Or let's say there's an artist called Don Bluth. He did like the animation for Dragon's Lair and Anastasia, and I think Land Before Time and American Tail. He was an ex-Disney animator. And I used to see him, another moment, right? Like a little nugget of knowledge is when I saw him draw like Dirk the Daring from Dragon's Lair. And this guy, he would think about, first he would say, think about the figure. Just think about what is the pose in your mind. Think about the figure. And then you just make a mark where you can see the figure, but you're not rendering. Just enough where you can see, as soon as you put down a few lines, oh, I see the figure. It's simple, but it's there. I can see it. I started drawing like that. I don't waste a lot of time like sketching. I'll use a line, 2 or 3 where I can see in the most minimal way, there's a figure. If I
you're just kind of blocking it out.
Yeah, but it's like
in a very simplified manner.
Like I'm talking like really simple.
Yeah.
And as soon as I recognize that's a face or that's a figure, or I can see the perspective, if I like the drawing at that stage where it is so minimal, that's the time to go into they call it an animation tie down drawings, where you're like, really kind of drawing and tying the drawing down where you see the form, a little bit more exact.
Yeah.
But that's the way I draw nowadays. I'll put a few lines. I go, oh, I got it. I see it. Okay, now we go. And we start to render. And then the level of rendering, it depends on your taste, your natural energy, whatever amount of rendering you want, how much shading, how much hatching, that's all on you. But the foundation, it's got to be there where you like, if you like what you like, if you like what you see at the most stripped down level, that's how I do it now. And I work a lot faster. And of course,
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. But of course, like any tool at your disposal, it could be, Google's great, right? Because any image you want, there it is. 3D models. You go online, free 3D models. You can turn like a car in space. You can take a snapshot of it, print it out, trace it. I mean, you have anything, right?
Yeah,
we have it all. yeah. So nowadays to get something right, especially if it's like certain vehicles, like let's say even in that book, Savage Pulp, I know that I wanted a specific car highlighted in the book. I wanted a Mercedes-Benz 300 SL. And you had to draw it in different angles. How does the car look like from the back, from the
Yeah.
front, from the side, right? So I use a lot of tricks to get that right. And I still messed it up because I bought a toy car. I didn't even need to do that. I could have just found a 3D model, found the angles, printed out and traced it, and we're off to the races.
Yeah,
Right. So
I feel like we're so spoiled with the amount of reference and things we have at our disposal
yeah.
now. Because I remember, and I've talked about this on here before, but back in the day, there was a handful of books on drawing comics, and there was a few books on animation and things, and then video content wise, there was like nothing. Like
No.
I had the Stan Lee, the creator,
Yeah.
comic book greats VHS tapes, and
Right.
at maybe if you were lucky at 5 minutes at the end of it, the artist would show something and draw something. But now we've got all our tutorials on YouTube we can look at.
Yo,
Like you
yeah.
said,
Free.
3D models for reference. You can
Yeah.
get on Pinterest and find any kind of angle of any piece of anatomy you're trying to learn.
Right.
It's just, do you think some of that kind of gets us overwhelmed to the point where we just don't even utilize it to the extent that we could? Or like,
Um,
is it a double-edged sword, like having all of that so easily available to
I
us?
I think I don't see, let's put it this way. I think if like all reference, if you're using it literally just, there's different schools of thought. You can use reference to test your ability to interpret a photo, but not just copy it, because I can copy. I used to make drawings that it was like exactly like the photo, but then I thought, if it looks so much like the photo, why even do it? You could have just
Yeah,
copied the photo. I mean, you spend like 20 hours when you could have just use the same photo, right? So
exactly.
yeah, so you use it as inspiration to help you make it, or do a spin on it, right? To make it look a little bit your style, or to make it different, right? So,
Yeah,
or it's just a what do you call it? A springboard, right? It's just a springboard. But all these devices, like all this stuff, to me, it's like it to be able to draw nowadays. Like there's all these aids. Like if somebody has issues with drawing, is I think maybe it's true. It can be overwhelming, but to me, I see it as like, okay, if one method doesn't work, there's like 100 other ways you can learn how to draw
yeah,
something. Just move on. Like, okay, 3D model doesn't work. Okay, let's go to using video. That doesn't work. Okay, let's try. There's all these ways. As long as whatever methods an artist, like, it starts to click, that's the important thing, because everybody
yeah.
learns in a different way.
Kind of trying to find what resonates with you, right?
Yeah, yeah. Some people, they just learn differently, so
Yeah.
it's whatever sticks. Yeah.
How do you feel? Are you a traditional artist? Do you like to use traditional tools, or do you leverage, digital drawing for some of your process? What are your thoughts on that?
I tried to use the digital, the pad. I know that it's a lot faster, to
Yeah,
produce. But and I'm sure there's a technology now where the texture of the tablet, it actually feels like paper, like the
yeah, there
resistance,
is. Yeah, I actually just got something for my iPad that's like the closest thing,
and
but
it feels like, yeah,
it feels like it, but it's
it's
not the
still
same.
right.
It's still off.
It's
Yeah, and
something's off.
also
Yeah,
I feel very constrained by the size of the screen.
right.
I like drawing on the bigger, the most I'll do is I'll do like the roughs and things like that
Right.
digitally, but then I print it out big and
And then you do it on paper.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it just doesn't, I can't go in there and finish things in the digital realm. It just
And
doesn't feel right.
and not only that, but I like originals, like a
Yeah,
physical,
me too.
yeah, tangible, like an actual original. So, but that's really what it is. I've tried to get into it, and maybe at some point, like, it'll feel natural, but I tried to draw on that stuff, and I just, it just doesn't. There's people that grew up drawing on tablets.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it's like,
Now we
wow,
have all these, this generation coming up. That's all they've ever known, really.
they draw on their phones.
Yeah.
I mean, they draw on their phones, they draw on the tablet. And I'm looking at this stuff. I'm like, yeah, I mean, cool. But for me, it's like, I like the paper. I use animation paper. I like the Bristol paper.
Yeah.
I like animation paper because it's thin, but it's durable. You can go over it and erase and go over it, and it doesn't tear. Really, it's very
Interesting.
durable.
I never, so I always hear about Bristol board when it comes to comics, and that's what
Yeah.
I've always used. I've never really heard of somebody using the animation paper for part of their process. So it's very durable paper.
Yeah, and you get like a stack of animation paper, and surprisingly durable.
Interesting.
And it's a little bit translucent. So I use a little light panel. So if I want to just go over a drawing, it's very quick. I just put it over the light, and you can see right through it. And you just go. I mean, it's designed for that, where you can just trace and go over it. But and I'm assuming that's why it's so durable. Surprisingly durable for such a thin piece of paper.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
That's
use
really
a lot
cool.
of. I like the feel of it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like finding the tool set that resonates with you, right? Like there's so many different ways to accomplish the same thing nowadays, but for me it's that tactile feel, the feel of the pencil on the paper and everything. I one day I'm sure digital might match it, but for me I just prefer it. And like I'm an original art snob too, so I'm like all about the originals, like getting my hands on originals by some of the greats and actually seeing the marks they're putting down and feeling the texture on the paper. That's like my jam.
Yeah. It's, so you probably have, I mean, I've always wanted to own certain originals from certain artists. There was, I don't know if you're familiar, there was an artist, called John Paul Leon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
I have one of his artist edition books. I don't have any original pages, but I have the the full size scans.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
amazing stuff.
Yeah, I remember I met him about 2 or 3 times. A really nice guy, very nice guy. We had the same drawing instructor at SVA, so we would talk about if he's still teaching there or whatever. But both of us would talk about. There was an artist called Jorge Zevallos.
Oh, amazing. I just recently discovered, like about maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And I'm like, how did I not know about this guy?
Listen, so
amazing.
So we would, and he owned like, I think an original, a Conan or something. It was Zevallos. And he told me that page was beat to shit. I mean, he didn't care. He would use a razor, white out. It was like beat to shit, but it didn't matter because when you reproduce, it didn't matter, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Zevallos was one of those people. I mean, he can be super rough, like a Terror Inc. He would do these pages for Terror Inc.
Yeah,
and then he would do like I think it's called Winterman. I think.
Yep.
The Chuck Jones. Chuck.
Yep.
I forgot who was the writer, but
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. Dixon. Chuck Dixon. And that artist, that was another revelation, right? When I see his stuff, it's like he knows lighting, composition, and so when you know how to draw, you can be as rough as you want because it's all there, right? Or like we would talk about that, or let's say Jordy Burnett. Of course Alex Toth, right? But he's more like a little more cartoony, Alex Toth. Yeah. But very simple, very simple. And, if you see modern artists that kind of mimic that, probably Chris Samney, the closest.
Yeah, he does. He comes close to that for sure.
Yeah.
I'm very tempted to pick up his Daredevil artist edition.
Yeah, I heard about that. I mean, I remember, going to school. Like I used to say that, why don't they reproduce the pages?
Yeah.
And then if 7 years or 8 years later, then they came out with it. And it's like, I would have liked that one, back then, would have liked that. Yeah.
And my bank account is crying, but not as much as it would be if I was trying to buy those original pages.
Right. Yeah. Those are like, but it's like you find the artist that you like. And it's like, to see those, that's the closest you're going to get probably. Like, let's say you want to get, like, to me on my list, they did produce Joe Kubert's Thor, the books that I like, the Epic line. in the artist edition, I was like, that one I'm gonna get for sure.
Yeah, for
Yeah, I
sure.
need that one.
I
Yeah.
just started looking when I came across Zafino, then I found his son, and I'm looking at
Yes.
the stuff his son's doing too, and it's pretty you see the influence of
You
his
see
father,
it.
obviously,
You
right?
see
Like
it. Oh
it's
yeah.
yeah, apple
Amazing.
doesn't fall far from the tree.
No, it's like another. Yeah, it's amazing how similar he looks.
Yeah.
His father. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what you're currently working on that you are able to talk about. Because I know when I have artists on here, sometimes there's stuff that they're working on that they can't disclose. But
Yes.
um, Savage Pulp, that came out, what, a couple years ago?
That came out, I think, like last year.
Okay,
Yeah.
last year. And
Yeah.
that's still available for people to purchase, right?
Yeah. 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 It's still available.
Nice.
Yeah. There's a few. Yeah. I mean, I don't know the exact number of issues left, but it was originally published by uh Blood Moon, and then it went over to Sunbury Press, so they have whatever is left over of
Gotcha.
Savage Pulp. But what I'm doing now is that I sent you some pages that was kind of like science fiction.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, those pages were kind of like a test off of the new style, because the style looks different than Savage Pulp.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit more like minimal, more minimal.
Yeah, I was gonna say little more minimalist
Yeah,
for sure.
more minimal, cleaner line, stripped down, because I want to do something the complete opposite of Savage Pulp. Every time if I'm going to do something, it's like, let's do it. Just not, I don't want to repeat. Like, let's do something different.
Yeah.
So, that one, I'm spending now time writing a script. And it's like, I have like what they call, what do they call, like, it's like, I forgot the term, but it's like you write the beats, the story beats,
Gotcha.
right, of the
Yeah.
thing. So the first
Almost
side,
like an outline or
like
a
an outline.
synopsis. Yeah.
And with the outline, is like, I kind of know it creates ideas. Okay, where we emphasize this, where we emphasize that. But it's like a 3 acts, so all the beats of the first act in the 3 act structure is done. Like, I could see the beat to go, okay, this works. Now we got to do 2 and 3. But that's what I'm doing, is like, now is more focusing on the writing, and the writing is a whole nother thing.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's like, to me, I have my own theories, like, about that you should write, but you should not make it, like, to me, a good story is things happen, but in an unexpected way. But after it happens, it's like, it kind of makes sense, but I just didn't expect it to go down that way. That's what I like. If I see that it's heading in a direction where I can kind of like predict it, or I can see, if I can predict it, it's like,
that drives me nuts in movies.
Yeah.
I forget what movie it was, maybe like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But literally, I leaned over to my wife, and I, like 5 minutes in, I told her like what was going to happen and how it was going to end.
And it happened.
It happened exactly the way I said it. I go, oh, they're mentioning that because that's going to come back around, and that's going to come into play in the final act, and da 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 da. It was very formulaic and like too predictable.
And that's, but see, this is the game they were playing. We have all these, decades of cinema and of story. You have to be clever, really clever,
definitely
nowadays, because you watch a movie and you're already thinking, that reminds you of this movie from 95 or 85 or whatever. It like throws you back. But that to me that is where my interest is right now, because like with those pages I sent you, it's like, I bet you when I start to draw the thing out, it's going to look even more different, because it's going to be like even more stripped down,
right, and
more bold in the compositions is everything. But I like it because it just kind of helped me get a little bit of the vibe. But that's what
you think your writing style is kind of informing the approach as far as the art style that you choose for the project?
You know what? No, because I'm
or is
just
it just
writing.
more that you're just, like you mentioned earlier, you're drawing in the way that's fun for you right now?
Yeah. No, my drawing is tailored to how I am. Every time I draw something, it's like, it's just going to be tailored to my personality. I cannot. Before, many years ago, it was more ego driven. It was like, look how much I can throw at you. Look how
Yeah.
much time I spent trying to impress. Look at me. I'm so great. Look at me. I don't do that because it's not worth it. It's like I'm pretending to be something I'm not.
Yeah.
So it's like nowadays I go, no, this is me. Either you like it or you don't, but I'm happy. I like it. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
this is who I am. I like it. I tailored it to me and I like it. So, but that's the focus now is in writing. By the way, because we were talking about the decades of movies, just out of curiosity, because I'm asking everybody this question because I love this question. I just asked somebody the other day, did you see Superman?
I did.
Okay. What do you think?
I enjoyed it. I'm in the camp that enjoyed it.
Because the movie to me is, for some reason, polarizing.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, but the thing is like, you know, to me, the word I thought of when I left the theater, this was fun.
Same.
Yeah, this was fun. Is it a perfect?
I'm not the only one to have described it this way. It felt like the most comic book brought to life.
Yes. Right.
Movie I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Comic movie.
Literally the most comic booky movie I've ever seen, probably. Not even like I thought about Spider-Man. It's like it had a kind of like a veneer.
It had pieces of it, but it didn't fully portray that the craziness of comics.
Right.
You know?
It didn't go all in a light gun just went, okay, let's just go. It's like either you're in for the ride or you're not. And I was like, as soon as I saw the movie, I said, I got it. I see what he's doing. Silver Age, you know, all this stuff. Yeah. And I was in for it. And it's like, it's not a perfect movie, but the movie.
No, we can nitpick any of them, especially as comic fans that know the source material and things, you know. But I definitely, it was fun. It felt like a comic book brought to life. I think it was one of the best portrayals of Superman I've ever seen. It had characters in it that I didn't even really know a whole lot about that I ended up loving. And like, I want to see a movie about Mr. Terrific now.
Yeah, he was great. Know? Mr. Terrific was awesome.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, I saw that movie and I felt like, okay, I had a blast. I had a lot of fun. The color, you know, there's like maybe two things that maybe I think halted the movie a little bit, but outside of that, I think the movie does a lot more good than that.
Sure.
So to me, overall, I said, this movie right here, I would buy that 4K Blu-ray.
Oh yeah.
I want to own it. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to see Fantastic Four Friday, so it's going to be interesting to kind of compare and contrast. Yeah, it's gonna I almost am upset that we have both of them in the same month because I'm like I'm not gonna be able to help but compare now.
You're gonna compare, of course.
And I'm a big Marvel guy, so I'm like I like Marvel movies. I wanna love it, but it's gonna be hard to not compare.
You're right, and I grew up more Marvel. That's the way I grew up.
Same.
So, and DC. It's funny because I saw the James Gunn movie and the way it was written, I realized that Marvel was more, I feel like it was more about people acting like people, but having like, you know, superpowers or whatever. It was a little bit more based in, you know, because it's in New York, right? It's like real places, right? But DC was almost completely fantasy. And these characters are almost like, I would say like mythological representations.
Yeah.
Human psychology. It wasn't like necessarily reality. It was like a stage, like a theater in a way. You know?
I agree with that for sure.
And so I kind of got it. Looking at the James Gunn movie, the way they were talking certain times, I said, oh, I get what they're doing. I get it.
Yes.
Now I get DC. I understand.
Yeah, I think they're laying a good groundwork. I think James Gunn, like the thing that bugged me always about DC was it just didn't, with the movies, is like they didn't have an overarching plan.
No.
of where this is going is like, oh, people like that, make another one.
Right.
It was like, oh, Joker 2, you know, after the director said, I'll never do another Joker movie. And he gets the big payday and they make a Joker 2 and everybody hates it.
And let me say this about Joker 2. When I heard they were going to do Joker 2, I said, why? That's the first question. Why? And number two was, then I heard it was going to be a musical. I said, okay, either this movie is going to be great or it's going to be horrendous. There's no middle, because I'm thinking, okay, you want to do a musical, really difficult genre, because the music everything has to be amazing, because they're so absurd. The musicals are absurd. I mean, they're more absurd than comic book movies, because people just break out in song and dance.
I agree.
Right? So it's like, either it's going to be amazing in a crazy way, or it's going to suck. And of course, I saw Joker 2. I'm telling you, I had to turn it off after, maybe, I think I lasted 5 minutes, 6.
I still haven't tried.
It's like a challenge. Like they have to pay. Yeah, it was
Well, it's bad too, because I've seen interviews with people that had smaller parts in the movie, and they said even when they were filming they knew it was going to be bad. Right. They're like, we were all standing around going, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah, they knew, like, this movie's going to be horrible. They knew.
Yeah. I'm excited for Fantastic Four. I want to see them do Galactus right.
I heard he looks great.
So I've heard some good things coming out of the initial, some people who I trust their opinions on comic book movies gave their out of theater reactions, no spoilers or anything, yesterday, and they were like, it surprised them how good it is.
That's
like they weren't that excited going into it,
right,
based on the trailers and everything else, but they're like, it's actually really good. So I'm hopeful for that.
I heard the same thing. So, but I know, to me, I cannot help but I'm going to compare the two.
Yeah.
And I'm going to,
because Superman was so good. I enjoyed it so much.
The way I felt after Superman, I said I had a lot of fun, and I just had a lot of thoughts about the choices he made with the camera work, the color. He had a punk rock thing going on. Yeah, it was very different.
Very different.
Any other DC movie. That's why it left an impression. I said, wow, that was different. That was really different.
Well, and it didn't feel like, to me, like, people are like, oh, it's going to be it's going to feel like every other James Gunn movie or whatever.
Yeah.
It had James Gunn elements to it, but it didn't feel like a stereotypical, it didn't feel like he was just rehashing the way he had made a film before. It was very different.
It was for him. I mean, obviously you see his hands on the project. Yes. But it was not what he's done before. It was a little different, you know? So, that movie, I really had a lot of fun with that movie. I really had a lot of fun.
Same here. As we get close to wrapping up here at the end, are you going to be, with these new projects, is this something you already have a publisher for, or are you going to be considering going the crowdfunding route with them?
Probably, when it's done, I'm going to be looking for a publisher for the book, just because, I'm so busy. I don't think I'm going to have time. The crowdfunding, that takes all of your time.
It takes a lot, man.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I've seen other people do it with the Kickstarter, and it's like, it can be done. But I think, if I don't have a huge YouTube following or something like that, it's like a real uphill battle.
Yeah.
So I might just have it and pitch it around to different publishers and see who wants to pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you got published before, I mean, there's got to be
some
avenue there for you to explore.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
And it sounds like you still maintain your connections and everything in the industry. Yeah. So you'll be able to get the word around.
Yeah. I mean, I've always felt that if the work is good, it doesn't matter. If somebody will pick it up at some point.
Yeah. So. How far into it are you right now?
Well, I did those pages, and I had them colored and everything. So really, my focus now is just in the writing. So I had written a first draft or something, terrible. Then you write a second and a third. Okay, and still not good. And fourth, and when you get to run your sixth and the seventh, then it's like, okay, it's working,
Starting to come together.
it's
Yeah.
starting to come. Yeah. So it's really just, my focus is on the writing and having a script done before the end of the year, a full script, ready to go. And once that's complete, in my opinion, once the script is there, it all works. The drawing part that's not the hard part for me. That's not the hard part. It's because it's all there.
Are you getting to the point with your writing where you're paring things down and getting faster too?
Yeah, because I have this rule that helps me a lot. I say, I call it CTS, cut the shit. Right? Mm-hmm. It's like because when you're writing a story, you can meander into things that are they're not important. You're just meandering into things that are, because, our minds work like that. We talk about this and then we go here.
Especially creative minds.
Yeah. But for storytelling, it's like, you can insinuate, but if you start to deviate too far from the focus, what is the point? What is the point of the story? What is the character want? What is the goal here? Right. Yeah. What are the things that are going to obstruct the main character from that goal? What are the choices? You have to have that kind of North Star. What is this about? Right? What is this story about? Having that mindset, when I start to meander, I'm thinking, let's cut the BS.
Get yourself back on course.
Yeah. What are we talking about? Right. And then that kind of helps speed it up. Right. Because it's like, okay, we don't need all this. Let's get back on track and we keep it. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I have had a wonderful time chatting with you. You got me pumped up and motivated. It's been a fun conversation. I would definitely love to have you back on, man, because I have a feeling we could sit here and just do a whole episode just talking about art and everything else. And I want to give you an opportunity here at the end to let everybody know the best places to find you online, where they should be following so they get the updates on your projects and everything. Right. The spotlight is yours.
Okay.
Let everybody know.
So basically, I have a YouTube channel. That's where I put all most of my stuff for drawing, do some drawing videos or some tutorials, stuff like that. So I do a lot of movie reviews too, and I talk about all kinds of stuff and art and blah, blah, blah.
You got the Superman review on there yet?
It is.
Nice.
Yeah. I have the out of theater, and then I have the longer, spoiler thing.
Awesome. I'm going to go watch those.
Yeah, but it's the YouTube channel is just J Zeraba, so JZERABA. That's my username, the channel.
All right.
You just go there and I have all my videos there. Did the short Superman video because I don't know about you, but to me, a movie is more interesting. If people just are not talking about it, that's worse than people hating on it. But when it's so polarizing, I think to me, it's fascinating. I don't know what it is.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and not to derail you here at the end, but just going into it, I had heard all the stuff that people were saying, and I was going in trying to find it. And I didn't see it. So I'm like, did they actually see the movie? What movie did they? Oh, that's some mental gymnastics to come up with that conclusion.
I was the same. People had their opinions, and I was like, I'm going to watch it and I'll make my own opinion about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So YouTube channel, and are you on any of the other more traditional platforms like Instagram, X, and all that kind of stuff?
No, I just do YouTube right now. That's all I got. Yeah, everything is on YouTube.
That must be nice.
It is. It's simple.
It's hard trying to maintain all of them.
Yeah, no, you probably have. I used to have Instagram. I like YouTube anyway. I like the video format better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about finding what works good for you. Plus, it makes it easier for people to find you if you're just go to this one place.
Yep.
This is where you can find everything.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome, Jorge. Well, thank you again for being on with me today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Hang out with me for a moment. I'm going to give everybody the spiel here.
Okay.
Guys, make sure you go out, support Jorge's work. Pick up Savage Pulp. I was looking online, and there are still indeed some copies available for purchase. Go check it out. Get on his YouTube channel, subscribe, and make sure you can keep up to date on everything he's doing, upcoming projects, art tutorials, awesome movie reviews. I'm sure there's going to be a Fantastic Four one after this weekend, hopefully.
Yeah, there will be.
Awesome. And if you're already listening to the podcast, you know where to find us. I would just ask that if you're enjoying yourself, give us a 5-star review, hit that like, subscribe, all those good things. And in the meantime, everybody, keep it nerdy.